As most of you guys already know, I've been a professional fighter for over a decade. If we include my amateur career, over 15 years. But I have been an instructor and martial arts instructor for 20 years. And I'm only 36 years old, so we're talking about my entire adult life. Now, what I want to talk about with you guys today is the most common errors I see in punching, because in all my time teaching, I see the same errors over and over and over. And if you can sort out the 6 punching errors, the most common ones that I'm going to tell you today, you're going to have a nice, crispy, technically efficient punch. So let's dive right into this episode. Let's not waste time, guys. Let's get right into it. Our first point, we're talking about our body and chin position. Very often when I see people punching, their chin is either up too high early or it starts low, as it should be, but then when they punch, it rises up. And we want to avoid that. We want the chin tucked. If you guys need a simple drill to help you do this, you just take a tennis ball, tuck it under your chin, and just throw your punches and make sure you're able to maintain that protect position. And also, the back. Very often when people throw when they're learning, they go very stiff through their back. You want to make sure that you're curled over, not right here and not high. Very, very incorrect. Very correct. This is what we want. Next up, guys, we are talking about point number 2. This is something that pretty much all beginner fighters do when they start getting excited and want to punch harder, and that is telegraphing. That means that I'm here, and instead of going right from wherever I hold my hands in a direct line to the target, I either pull back and throw to gain more power, or they do little errors like this. Every time they, let's say they jab, they go down and out. I don't know why, because it's so much slower and it lets somebody know that movement is coming. I'm much better off just going straight as opposed to the drop and the fire out, but I see it time and time again. It doesn't matter how many corrections I make. These people who do that, they just have so much trouble not dropping and letting that hand go out. So if you can start recognizing that wherever you choose to keep your hands, they stay right there and they go directly out, directly back in, that's going to make you have a much more efficient, crispy punch. Point number 3, we are talking about keeping the body fairly relaxed. Yes, we do not want to hit with a floppy fist because you might break your hand, but we also don't want to be too tense. That's what this point is all about. I see people tensing up, trying to hit really hard, but that, number 1, exhausts you. It's so tiring. And number 2, because you're tense, it slows you down. And then the punch that you were trying to get a lot of power on is actually weaker because it lacks the speed. Don't go tense until the last second. I fire out, I'm loose, I tighten just to make sure I get that extra little snap, that extra little pop of power. And of course my fist is closed to protect my hand and also just make it feel like I'm hitting with a concrete. A hand of concrete is what we want. So remember that when you're learning, you want to be able to stay loose. That's why you see boxers and they look so floaty. They're just loose, loose, loose instead of The next mistake I see over and over, and we're not just talking about beginners here, we're talking about intermediate and advanced. So often when I watch people fight, I see them throw their hand out and everything here is good. Everything's perfect. Everything from the hips down, waist up is all looking sharp, but they forget about this hand. We have to focus on what the other hand is doing, because I can have the best punch in the world, but if this hand is low, all I need for somebody to come over top with a kick, a punch, and then bam, I'm out. We have to focus on not just what our punching hand is doing, but what our other hand is doing. And this is always so common. Right up here, down, down, hook. And this is down. We don't want that. Be very, very diligent when you're practicing your shadow boxing, when you're doing your own training. Hand right back to the head. Every time. Plant it right to your head as the other hand goes out. That will protect you for the majority of counter shots that may come. Next, super common mistake that people make is forgetting to breathe. They throw their punches and then have nothing left to give because they forgot. Every time you hit, you just a little bit of breath out, just a little bit of air. And if you want to and you want to gain more power, you can actually really throw some force in. That's why you see guys when they hit pads, they yell. It's going to help remind you that you need to be breathing, especially when you start doing hard rounds. But we were talking before about not being too tense. If you're breathing, it's going to help you get rid of that tension through your body. It's going to remind you, breathe out, tense for a second, and then relax. Tense for a second, relax. Remember, you need to keep breathing. It happens all the time in beginners. Just too much tension because lack of breathing. And the final common error that I see people make when punching is they punch only with their arm. That means that, yes, I snap this arm out, bam, bam, and it's super fast and everything else is looking good. That's great. This hand stays up. They're doing everything so well, but they forget this is a whole body motion. This is not just an arm motion. So as I punch, I think if I'm punching with this arm, this shoulder needs to take the lead. If I'm going to punch again with this one, I need to draw back and again lift and get the shoulder in front. I'm going to go to left now. Left shoulder comes in front. It's whole body mechanics stemming right from my feet. My feet do a little pivot every time I punch. My hips follow, my shoulders follow. And then finally, I come up with the punch, which seems like it's the focus, but it's really not. Because if I just go like this, I'm going to have so little power and I'm going to burn my arms out because I'm trying to hit solely with this to create power through the whole body. It has to not just be arm punches, it has to be whole body punches. If you can accomplish everything I listed today, all those 6 things, you get it all wrapped up, neat and tidy, you throw your punch, you have everything down, you are going to have an intermediate to advanced punch. Most of the things I listed today are beginner mistakes. Sort that out. You're going to be on point with your strikes off the hands. There's a whole nother section we can do on the legs. I will cover that in a future episode. If you guys want to see that, please give the video a like. If you haven't already, join the channel and get subscribed. As always, guys, train hard. I'll see you back here soon for another video.